Nature isn't losing just because people don't care. It's losing because, quite frankly, keeping land wild usually pays a lot less than converting it into something else. If we're actually going to preserve a living planet, we literally have to change the math. Keeping land wild absolutely must pay. And that brings us to the focus of this explainer, the Conservation Index. Consider this staggering reality for a moment. Over just the last 5 decades, African lion populations have plummeted by an astonishing 75%. And it gets worse. By 1995, black rhinos had crashed to barely 2,410 individuals globally. We're talking about incredible, iconic species being reduced to just a fraction of their natural populations. So what's the primary cause? Habitat loss. Their prime ecosystems have been aggressively displaced by agriculture, deforestation, mining, and urban creep. These are destructive land uses that are simply easier to price, and because of that, they're much easier to finance. So, what does this all mean on a global scale? Well, we are facing a really hard structural economic imbalance. To put that into perspective, according to UN Environment Program, for every single dollar we invest in protecting nature, $30 are currently financing its decline. It's a staggering 30-to-1 fight against the wild. Now, conventional economics thrives on standard, comparable measurements, right? We all know exactly how to price a ton of copper or, say, a bushel of wheat. The systems are built for it. But what about the wild economy? Up until now, it has completely lacked a standardized, comparable metric to actually value conservation and protection. And look, while tourism absolutely creates value from living landscapes, the market just doesn't have a reliable way to separate a genuine, boots-on-the-ground conservation investment from a superficial claim on a slick travel brochure. Ultimately, green claims are not proof. And because of that, the operators who are out there carrying the really heavy costs of conservation are left struggling for any real recognition. So how do we solve this? This is where the Conservation Index comes in. You can think of this as the missing measurement, verification, and reward layer for the wild economy. It's essentially an absolutely crucial piece of global data infrastructure designed specifically to solve this market failure. It gives us a highly structured, incredibly credible path to actually scale these conservation efforts. Let's break down how it actually works. It all begins with solid evidence. First, properties document their conserved land, along with the legal and governance context of that land. Then, we bring in satellite change detection, followed by rigorous independent assurance. It's this pipeline that takes all that raw evidence and transforms it into a standardized, fully comparable property-level score. And all of that careful verification, it generates our flagship metric, conservation hectares protected per guest. It's a brilliantly simple number, but it's deeply rigorous, and it finally does what we've been needing. It links the physical act of travel directly to verifiable on-the-ground impact. Once you can accurately measure that impact, you start to see real changes in market behavior. Properties that are actively investing in nature, they'll naturally climb up regional rankings based on their verified impact. Travel advisors will finally get definitive impact reports to help guide their clients' choices. And the travelers themselves get to build a verified conservation record of the actual sustained landscapes they've helped protect. Crucially, this whole ecosystem ensures that landholders and local communities are recognized as active rights holders. It all boils down to a very clear progression: measure, recognize, and reward. By using standardized claim packs and APIs, this verified conservation score can flow directly into booking systems, corporate reporting, and destination planning. It literally takes the invisible, exhausting work of conservation and makes it highly visible and, honestly, highly competitive. The mandate moving forward is straightforward: build, prove, and scale. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some abstract concept. It's an active action plan. The immediate next step is getting a working pilot off the ground in Southern Africa. We're talking about utilizing real land, real properties, and real guests, all to comprehensively prove out this scoring engine before we scale it globally across borders. Ultimately, what is measured can be recognized, and what is rewarded can finally compete in the open market. Right now, the Conservation Index is actively seeking founding partners to help fund this working pilot, develop the scoring engine, and establish the verification standard for the Southern Africa pilot. Think about it. If we finally have the tools to accurately price the survival of nature, can we really afford to leave it off the balance sheet? This explainer covers the core of the Conservation Index, which was founded by Rob Moffat in Namibia. If you're ready to get involved, you can reach out directly at rm@thexfactor.app. Let's make nature count.